If you saw my review of the Force USA G3 that I posted last week, you know that I like both the company and the machine. And for $19.99, it is one of the best all-in-one trainers that you can get. But it's not necessarily the one that I would buy for my gym. And I've been looking at these to actually buy one for my gym to really give a good in-depth thorough testing for you guys and to use for myself. So which one would I buy? I want to show you one of the finalists today, the Force USA G6. Welcome to the GymCrafter YouTube channel. My name's Tim. I am the head gym nerd here at GymCrafter.com, the website that I built to help ordinary folks like you and I build home and garage gyms that we absolutely love. And today I am in Johnson Fitness and Wellness in Aurora, Illinois, taking a look at the Force USA products. I've been here a good part of the day. I'll be here quite a bit longer, but I'm excited to bring you guys a lot of these Force USA all-in-one trainers and some other of their products. So let's get into the video. Now, if you like videos like this and you like the fact that I drove all over heck and back to get here, make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more coming up from these guys. And also, if you know somebody who's looking at an all-in-one trainer, make sure and share the video with them so that they can get the benefit of an overview of something that really ends up costing quite a bit of money, but can really be something that you keep for a long time and that you really love having in your garage gym. So with that, let's get into the video. So as I mentioned last week, I posted a review of the Force USA G3. Now that's a plate-loaded functional trainer Smith machine power rack combination. And today we're going to look at the G6. Now the G6 has quite a few more functions to it than the G3 does. The first big difference is that it's a weight stack instead of plate loaded, but we'll get into all of that. The way that I want to review this is I want to go through each of its individual functions one by one, show you what I like, show you what I wish was different. I've been playing with this thing for a lot. Like I said, I've been looking at spending the $34.99 to get one of these into my home gym. So let me show you what I've looked at and what I think about it. And we're going to start with the fact that this can work as a really nice power rack. So let's take a close look at the uprights and how this works. As you guys know, my preferred way to train is with a barbell and a rack. It's really my favorite way to train. I could train that way for the rest of my life. I love having cables, and the Smith machine's been really fun to have. But if whatever I buy can't facilitate barbell training, I don't necessarily want it. And that's one of the reasons I really like the G6. So let's start with the uprights. Now these are 2x2 uprights. Now one caveat for you guys, I would not buy the G6 as it's sold right now. They are upgrading it very soon. And here's what they're upgrading. Right now we've got 4-inch hole spacing and 1-inch holes, and that's not conducive to barbell training. They're going to be upgrading this to 5/8-inch holes and 1-inch hole spacing across the whole upright, which is going to match the rest of their line. Now that's going to give you a couple of benefits. Number one, that's going to allow you to attach all of their other accessories, which you couldn't until now attach to this. So it's going to expand the possibility of upgrades down the road quite a bit, and Force USA has a ton of stuff that you can add to these. The second thing it's going to do is you really want to be able to adjust your J-hooks and your spotter arms by 1-inch increments. I love west side hole spacing, for example, on standard power racks for exactly that reason. If you're lifting, and especially if you're lifting heavy, you're going to want to be able to get these things in exactly the right position. When you're bench pressing, for example, if the spotter arms are too high, you're going to get stopped before full depth. And as you guys know, if you ever hit a spotter arm while you're bench pressing as heavy as you can, it's very jarring. It can really mess up your lift. And if it's too low, well, that's going to cause its own set of problems, right? And by going with the 1-inch hole spacing, that's a really huge upgrade to this. So I probably wouldn't buy the G6 until they upgrade. Now that's going to happen very, very soon, so you shouldn't have to wait long after this video if you decide you like this. By the way, everything I'm going to talk about today is linked below. They are affiliate links, so if you do use those, if you like this because of the review and you buy one, it does help me out. I do appreciate that. That said, Johnson Fitness and Wellness has been nice enough to let me come film in their store all day long and bother the manager here, and they've all been fantastic about it. And there's nothing better than coming and seeing this stuff in person to see if you want to buy this stuff. Everybody that I've met here at these stores, and I've been to 3 of them so far, all of them train themselves, all of them have a good understanding, they can all help you choose the right thing. So even though it means giving up my affiliate commission, I would rather see you guys make sure that you're spending your money on what you like. So if you are near a Johnson Fitness and Wellness, they've got like 100 and some odd locations across the country. Make sure and stop on in the store and check them out and see for yourself what I'm talking about. Another thing that I would upgrade, and unfortunately it's something I don't necessarily like about this particular unit, and really all of the Force USA as far as their safeties and their J-cups. Now, the G6 does come with upgraded safeties and J-cups over what the G3 comes with. You actually have a safety pop pin on the back, so that's a nice feature, so they stay secure, which I really like. They're nice and heavy duty. The issue that I have is, if you'll notice in the back here, that there's no UHMW across the back. So when you're rear backing your bar, you're gonna hit this right here. So this is something, as nice as these J-cups are, I would upgrade these probably right away if I bought this rack. Because they're going to the 2x2 with 5/8 inch holes, that shouldn't be an issue to find nice J-cups that fit. They aren't that expensive, but that is something that I would want to upgrade. The other thing that I would upgrade, and again, an upgrade from the G3, how many times can I say upgrade in one video, right? But from the G3 is you also have the safety pin on the back of the spotter arm, which is nice, but still spotter arms are a little short for my taste. These are functional, so these are long enough to use and they are gonna do a decent job. But if you're doing anything that has a lot of lateral movement in the bar, you may want something that's a little bit deeper. I do a lot of rack pulls off the safety arms on a rack like this, and my preference would be to have something that's a little bit longer. Now there's plastic protect your barbell, and this should serve for basic barbell functions, but this is also something that I would probably upgrade, and again, with the different hole spacing, that shouldn't be an issue. Now, for a huge difference between this and the G3, and something that I absolutely love having on a combination unit like this. These all-in-one trainers, what happens a lot of times is the cable for the cable system typically runs up and down in front, and then if the trolley's down low, it's up and down in back. And what happens is when you're trying to put on your spotter arms, the cable gets in the way. What you get with the G6 is the way that the cable is run is it's offset diagonally off the front of the unit, and then in the back, it's offset diagonally off the back. So even though this cable is here, I've got absolutely no problem putting these on, and the cable doesn't get in the way of my barbell, the cable doesn't get in the way of my safeties. These things just pop on and off. For those of you guys who have used a system like this before where the cables are in the way, you know what a gigantic pain in the you-know-what those cables are, and this is something I absolutely love about the G6. It's a big difference over the G3, and it's a big difference compared to a lot of their competitors. The uprights themselves are heavy gauge steel. They're not 11 gauge, I believe they're 14 gauge. But they are chromed, so the finish is gonna last a nice long time. If you've seen some of my reviews lately of the more budget tier stuff that are powder coated, you know that the safeties in the J-cups rub that powder coat off in no time, and it really starts looking rough and shady. This is a retail store display where you know these things have been put on and off a ton of times, and this thing looks great. I have no reason to expect that this would look anything but great. So again, really good setup for working in the power rack, and plenty of holes and hole spacing all the way up and down the rack to do whatever barbell work you would want to do. So really would function well as a power rack. Let's move on to the next thing that the G6 does. One of the primary reasons that people buy an all-in-one trainer like this is for the functional trainer. And the star of the G6, in my opinion, is the dual weight stacks. These are 220-pound weight stacks. The cable system pulls at a 2-to-1 ratio, so the feel weight on each side is going to max out at 110. The cables are tested to 2,000 pounds. Now, it's not a 2,000-pound overall system rating. However, you can use a gym pin and add plates to the front of this. There's nothing in the way of doing that, so you can definitely add a little bit more weight if you want to. But having a weight stack in your functional trainer is a game changer. I've had a couple in the gym now that are plate loaded, and as nice as those are for saving money, and that is a great way. If you're looking at an all-in-one unit and you need to save some coin, going with a plate loaded system is the way to go. I would tell you though that if you've got the option, if you've got it in the budget and it's not a matter of whether you can afford it or not, it's just a matter of either, hey, I might just save the money because it sounds like a good idea, I would say to spend the extra money on a plate loaded system. Having something like this is so much nicer. You're gonna work out so much more often, you're gonna be more consistent, you're gonna get your workouts done faster, and it's just gonna be a more enjoyable experience. The pin pops in and out really easily. The weight stack is a really high quality piece. The pulleys on the system are nylon. They're not aluminum. However, those may be an upgrade down the road, but nothing in the near future from Force USA. That said, these things pull really nice and smooth. The cables are a little bit smaller diameter. Like I said, they're steel core cables that are tested to 2,000 pounds, so I've got no issues with the reliability or the weight capacity on these. And then the stacks slide on 2 nice bars here, so it's a really smooth pull. The price point on the G6 is $34.99, and one of the big reasons for the price jump over the G3 is these weight stacks, but in my opinion, it's worth every penny. Keep in mind, if you buy the G3, you're gonna have to buy weights anyway, and there's a lot of other differences that are upgrades, but to me, this is the reason why I've been looking at putting this one in my gym versus putting other ones in my gym is I don't think I would buy something with my own money that wasn't a weight stack system. In addition to the weight stacks, another reason that I've personally been looking at the G6 and something that you may want to seriously consider is that it's taller. If you don't have a height restriction in your gym, and in a lot of garages you don't, in basements you kind of have a pretty serious height restriction, but at 91 inches tall, this is going to require a little bit more ceiling space than most. But for myself, as you know, in pretty much every video I talk about the fact that I'm tall, if you look at where the cable comes out, it actually comes out over my head, and I absolutely love this. There's so few functional trainers out there that have a cable option that comes out at a high angle, and I use high angle cable pulls a lot, whether it's face pulls or any number of different curl variations. There's a lot of different uses for a higher angle pull, and I love that this goes tall like this. It's not only because of the overall height of the machine, but if you look on the trolley itself, the pulley sits above where it mounts into the top of the rack. So the top of the pulley is actually a fair bit higher than the top hole on the system itself. So that's something that I really like. As far as the pulleys themselves, really nice handle and pop pin. These things slide super smooth. They slide on UHMW, it's on the inside, so there's no rollers. I actually like that on a machine of this level, because what happens with the rollers is a lot of times you have a lot of play and they wiggle and jiggle and things like that, whereas this is going to be nice and smooth. There's no wiggling and jiggling and things like that. It's really good tolerances on this. You can use this from pretty much any angle. That's another nice thing about this being higher, is that if I want to turn this out to the side, I can turn this out to about 45 degrees out to the side, and it operates right over the handle there, no problem. So really nice as far as this part of the system goes. Like I said, the cable travel, the pull itself is very smooth, and plenty of attachments, which we'll talk about in a minute. As far as attachments go, not only do you get a bunch, and I'll show you a couple of them that I really like, but you get a great place to store them. On the back here, you've got this exercise chart, and I think a really cool idea that they have is that this actually spins on a vertical axis, and on the back, you've got 4 hooks to hang your attachments for the cable system. It gets them out of the way completely. Not only gets them physically out of the way, but it gets them visually out of the way. And I absolutely love that. I hate tripping over things in my gym, and I hate when my gym doesn't look nice and clean. And this really helps with that. A couple of the accessories that you get, which are a little bit nicer than some other ones, you're gonna get metal D handles instead of fabric, which is nice. So these kind of stay out of your way, with a rotating handle that rotates really nicely. As you guys know who have used cable systems before, the easier this rotates, the more enjoyable it is to use. You're gonna get a close handled bar, you're gonna get a lat pull down bar, you're going to get the close grip neutral, you're gonna get a kind of a V handle, you're gonna get your rope, and you're gonna get one of my favorites, you're gonna get this guy right here, which allows you to attach both cable pulleys together so that you've got a vertical pull bar, so that you can do, this is great if you have trouble doing pull-ups. You can weight this. A lot of times people will do band assisted pull-ups, which are fine, but this really allows you to simulate a pull-up with a lighter weight than your body weight. And if you're not great at pull-ups yet, that's a great way to do it. One thing that I wish was different about this is the knurling is pretty passive on this, and it's not the best. It's not the most cleanly applied knurling. I'll show you when I get to the Smith machine bar, because it's pretty much the same thing. So I would change that if I could, but just as far as getting this, and then also it spins, so you don't have to worry about the thing spinning in your hand, and that's kind of nice when you're using this for the exercises. Also, this is great for like pullovers and straight arm lat pull downs. This is good for a lot of different things, and it's great that this comes with. The third and last of the primary reasons you buy an all-in-one trainer is the Smith machine. The Smith machine is going to provide a lot of benefits to people. It's quick to use, it's an easy learning curve, and it provides a lot of safety that people don't feel they have using just a standard barbell. The Smith machine on the G6 is really, really good. It's nice and smooth. Now, it's not counterbalance. This is a 35-pound bar. As far as the bar itself, it's okay. It's a wider diameter. It feels probably 29 or 30 millimeters if I'm guessing. I don't have calipers with me. The knurling is kind of medium to passive, so I really wish it was a little bit more aggressive, and it's not the best applied. The ends here where it terminates isn't the cleanest, but it gets the job done. I do like that it has a center knurl. A lot of Smith machines don't have a center knurl, and since a lot of people use these for squatting, it's important to have a center knurl to keep the bar centered on your back. It's also a nice visual cue for just lining up to make sure you're in the right place. As far as the hooks go, they're about 4 inches apart, which is nice. One of the things I love about this one, and again, I'm gonna harp on this a couple of times, is the height of this machine. The height of this allows me to get the bar, this is the top position. So for me, I can't do even like a seated overhead press on the Smith machine in most all-in-one trainers because I top out at the very top, even sitting on a bench. I would have to sit on the floor and do something like a Z press, which kind of defeats the purpose. Z press is a great movement. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Awesome way to train your shoulders. But with this, what I like to do on Smith machines is I like to do overhead press drop sets, because you can put 10-pound weights on them or 5-pound weights, and then you can just real quickly load it up to your max, do your reps, pop 5 pounds off, jump back in. It's a really great way to do drop sets because it is so fast. The problem with most of them is it isn't very tall, and with this one, it's tall enough for me to actually get under it, sit down on a bench, and extend fully all the way to the top. And I actually don't even come all the way to the top. I end up hooking it on the second to top one when I'm done with my set. So this is a really nice benefit, is that there's a lot of range here. It also means that for taller folks that you've got plenty of room for squatting. So when I put it here, this is a great spot to get it in position on my back for squatting, whereas a lot of them that are shorter, you end up having to hunch down. So for you taller folks out there who are just by the nature of your height kind of precluded from getting an all-in-one trainer, the G6 is a good option for you. Even over the G3, it's definitely taller and it feels a whole lot more roomy and spacious in here for that reason as well. A kind of interesting accessory that comes with the G6 is this leg press attachment. It pops on and off of the Smith machine with 2 little pop pins and comes on and off pretty quickly. It does allow you to basically get down on the floor, put your legs up underneath and push up. You tilt your ankles to hook it on and off of this. I did find it a little bit clumsy. I did find it a little bit hard to use. Also, you're gonna have to get used to using it. I think if I use it a few times, I might get more used to it, but it doesn't necessarily replace a leg press. But it is a nice option if you don't have room in the gym for a leg press and you want something to do just some leg presses here and there. I don't know that it's my favorite part of this, but it is something that you get with it. This plate also doubles as the foot plate for the low row, which I'll show you in a second. So that way there's not a permanently attached low row foot plate, and it gives you a nice wide diamond plate platform to push from on the low row, which I love. So it is a nice accessory to have, but as far as using it for the leg press, like I said, not my favorite thing on the G6. So here's the leg press attachment used as the low row foot plate. Like I said, it's really nice because it gives you a wide diamond plate area to do your low rows from. You can get your feet up against it and really get a nice push off. One thing that's a little bit weird is that it doesn't fully attach. It uses the band pegs in the front to keep it from tipping, and then it gives you multiple adjustment angles, but it doesn't actually attach. So you can move it around a little bit, which I don't know that I'm a huge fan of, but it does keep your legs where it's supposed to be and gives you the ability to do some low rows. While I'm down here, it's going to be important to point out the band pegs. I love the band peg setup on this. There are a ton of slots for the band pegs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, which is great because one of the things you want when you're banding your barbell movements is you want that band to pull straight down. So depending on the movement and how close you are to the rack, this gives you a ton of flexibility of where those bands are. There's also several band peg spots, I think 3 underneath each weight stack, which allows you to band each weight stack. So being able to change the force curve on your cable movements is a really important thing to be able to do. Some of these types of machines don't have that, and I love that it gives you the option. Now, it doesn't have the ability to band, or it doesn't have band pegs anyway, on the Smith machine, which I would like to see. There's already room down here for those. It wouldn't be hard to put those in there, but that's something I would like to see a little bit differently. And then also in the back here, which you can see right back here, there is a barbell storage sleeve, so that if you are doing barbell work and you're using your bands and things like that, you've got room to put that. A lot of times people are buying these for space savings, so that's a nice option to have, to store your barbell back there. I wish there was a way to store it horizontally up on the top of the machine someplace, but this is the next best option, and it does get it up and out of the way for you. Coming up from the floor to the top of the machine, up here we've got a pull-up station, which has plenty of grips. It's got the ones that you need. You've got your overhand, you've got your supinated, you have both a close neutral grip and kind of a wider neutral grip, and then you've got these wide handles as well. So plenty of area to do on the pull-ups. One nice thing for me is I don't have to bend my knees at 90 degrees to use it. Again, back to the height thing I keep talking about. If you've got room for the extra height, it's a big advantage of the G6. Doing pull-ups where you have to keep your knees tucked the whole way isn't near as effective or as fun. Not that pull-ups are a ton of fun, but not near as fun as doing it where you don't have to just tuck everything up so that you don't hit the floor. So that's a really nice thing to have. Up here you also have a dedicated D-ring for your suspension trainers. Suspension training work is something everybody should be doing, and it's nice to have a secure place to anchor them and not have to just loop them around here and there. It's just got a nice dedicated place in the middle to do that. So both of these areas up top are really nice to do. Rounding out the attachments that come with the G6, you do get a dual handle dip station. So these actually go on kind of neat. They go on again so that they don't interfere with these cables. I can't emphasize how many times I've taken stuff on and off of this rack as I'm shooting this video, and it's an absolute joy to not have these cables in the way every time. It is such a good design change from a lot of other cable systems that it really makes going with a G6 or higher in their line worthwhile. This alone is worth quite a bit of money. But putting on these dip handles was nice and easy. It's got the security pins on the back. The dual width handles is nice depending on the size and how you want to work your muscles, but really nice stable dip attachment. It's not an afterthought like a lot of places are, so that's nice. And then down below there is a landmine. Something I like about the landmine is it's offset from the front of the unit. So unlike almost everything else that's out there, the landmine is out of the way, the foot plate is removable, so you just have the feet on the bottom. There are tabs so that you can bolt this to the ground, although this thing's not going anywhere, super stable. But you do get a landmine as well, so that rounds out everything that comes with. Let me show you a couple things that are options that I think a lot of people would like, and then we'll wrap this up. There are a couple of attachments that you can get as accessories down the road for your G6, which I really like the option of having. And even though I'm not necessarily a fan of one of them, it's definitely something that a lot of people are. The first one is jammer arms. You can actually get jammer arms, plate-loaded jammer arms, a couple different handle positions. They attach really easily and securely. There's a screw-on security on the back. They hold quite a bit of weight, plenty of size weight horn here, and it's nice for those of you who want to have jammer arms. These systems are secure enough and heavy enough to where you're not going to tip this thing forward, the whole machine, by using the jammer arms, especially with two double 220-pound weight stacks back there. This thing's not going anywhere, and it's nice to be able to have the jammer arm option for those of you who want it. It's an inexpensive option that you can add on. Another thing that a lot of people want for their gym are leg curl and leg extension machines, and there is a leg developer. They don't have one here for me to show you, but it does attach to the upright just like this does. It's got two leg rollers, and you can basically line it up with your bench, and you can either lay down and do leg curls or you can do leg extensions. So for those of you who like to do those two exercises, that's an accessory that you can get. I like that those come separate. The G6 tends to come with a ton of stuff, and like I said before, I'll put all the accessories that it comes with down below in the description. But these are a couple of accessories that not everybody's going to want, but a lot of people are. So it's nice that you can add those on either at the time that you buy them or at the time you decide to add them down the road. So those are two things that don't come with it, but that you might like, and I wanted to make sure and show you. So let's wrap this up and hit the high points and some of the lower points. So the things that I wish were different on the Force USA G6. Number one, I really wish that the J-cups and the spotter arms were a little bit better. The spotter arms need to be a little bit longer. The J-cups need to have a little bit more protection for your barbell. Speaking of the barbell, I wish the knurling on the bar on the Smith machine and on the bar that joins the two cable systems together was a little bit more aggressive and a little bit cleaner applied. And I'm kind of lukewarm on the leg press plate, both for its function as a leg press, as it felt kind of clunky a little bit and not quite like a leg press. It's definitely its own exercise, but I don't know that I would call it a replacement for a leg press. And I felt like it was a little bit loose, and maybe I put it on wrong, but I thought it was a little bit loose as far as the plate for the low row. I would rather see something that's actually permanently attached to the machine or attached in a way I could take it off like on the G3. Outside of those few things, and none of those are deal breakers, none of those make me say, hey, like I said before, I'm definitely considering this for my home gym. None of those made me say, hey, I don't want this in my home gym. They're just things that I wish were a little bit different. As far as things that I like, you guys should know by now, one of the things that I love about this is the height. The height of this machine really makes it usable for a wide range of people. It really opens up a lot of functions, both from the high angle cable pulls to the higher height on the Smith machine to the better height on the pull-up bars. If you've got room in your gym for a taller machine like this is definitely the way to go. Another thing that I really like are the weight stacks. Not only the fact that it has weight stacks and I don't have to lug plates around and load them on and off the thing all the time and duck under the Smith machine bar to put plates on the inside weight horns, but the fact that they're 220 pounds, even at 2-to-1, these are some of the heaviest weight stacks on the market and plenty of weight for just about anything you want to do. Pop on a gym pin, add some plates to it, and you've got a cable system that'll work with you for whatever you want to do. It's got the nice cable length of a 2-to-1 cable pull. It's got the smoothness of that. It's got the smaller increments of that, but it's also got the ability to kind of go up in weight if you need to. And then I just like the overall build quality. I mean, there's a lot of little touches, the location of the landmine, the durability, the flip around storage on the back. There's just a lot of little things that I pointed out along the review that I really like and think it makes it worth the upgrade. If you're between the G3 and the G6, and again, it's not a budgetary issue where you're restricted one way or the other, I think the G6 is more than worth stepping up, and it's a really good solid plate loaded machine. Also at $34.99, it's one of the lower priced all-in-one functional trainer, Smith machine, power rack systems that you can buy that I can confidently say is going to last you a long time. It's not going to wear out over time. It's really going to give you a lot of value for your money. So what do you guys think? What do you think about the G6? Now, I reviewed the G3 last week. If you watched both reviews, what do you think about the comparison? Which one would you buy for your home gym? What questions do you have? I've had my head buried deep in the Force USA stuff for quite a while in preparation for this trip, so I'm pretty familiar with all the features. If I missed something or if there's a detail that you want to know, let me know down in the comments below and I'm happy to answer that for you. And as usual, if you've watched the video all the way to now and you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button, share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of fun stuff. I've got more videos on Force USA coming out down the road. And until next time, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.